Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of So Tell Us Time. We're so excited to be here with you guys today. We have some really good content. In fact, we are continuing our local SEO. So today will be part 3 of our multi-series local SEO, how to improve your local SEO. And today we're talking about content is king. Absolutely. And let me tell you something, this is a really good one. And this is really important because it truly is king. Content is king, especially when you're talking about Google. There's very few things that Google uses that we can manipulate in a way, and content is definitely one of those because we can feed them more and more content. And so within that, there's more to it than just content, but we're going to dive in today, and I think this is going to be really good for you guys, because here's the deal is I can tell you right now, most people probably are not doing content marketing and they are not utilizing content the way that they should be. And so Troy's definitely going to end up highlighting that today, because I think by the end of this episode, you're going to be like, crap, I am not doing a thing that can make a very big difference for you and will make a very big difference. So, all right, Troy, jump in. Let's do this.
All right. So, today we're going to be talking about content and why is it content important for your website? Because a lot of people are creating content for their social media sites, right? To get more people engaged, to try and get more followers on social media and things like that. But they completely ignore content for their website. And the reason why content is so important on your website is because basically, if you think about it, Google's job is to deliver the latest and greatest content when someone's doing a search, right? They're not looking on your Instagram or anything like that. They're looking at websites, they're looking for content, and then they're delivering that up when people are doing searches in Google. So, and they want to find the latest and greatest information that they can share. Now, content is one of the best ways to show Google what search terms you want your website to show up for on the first page of Google. Because again, you got to remember, when you think about Google, you're talking about a machine, right? This is an algorithm and a machine that is trying to determine, is there any value in your website? And if there is value, where should I rank that value, right? Meaning when people are searching for something related to that, do I show it on the first page? Do I show it on the 10th page? Yeah. So content is one of the best ways for Google to actually know what to do, because content is something that a machine can understand and it can learn, right? Yeah. And so Google is always looking for new content. That is why they are constantly actually indexing people's websites looking for that content. You know, think about it. Like, why would Google ever come back to your website? It's not because they want to visit your website again. It's because they are looking for new content that they can then serve up to people that are doing searches on Google.
You know what? And I would say the reason that people struggle so much with content is because think about when they build their websites. Like, you know us, we build websites, right? So we know, we deal with this on a daily basis, that people are always like, oh, I don't love my content, but I really don't know what I want to say. So it's like when we're talking, and so I don't want to scare anybody away, but when we're talking about creating content for your website, I mean, some of you might be thinking, I struggled so hard just to create the content that's on my website. Now you're telling me to create more content, right? And so, but don't worry. We've got some ideas for you. But it really truly is king when you're thinking about what can we serve up Google, like Troy said. What can we give Google in order when they come back to want to continue to come back, right? So,
yeah, exactly. So what are some types of content that we should be creating? And I'll just give you a couple of examples. Videos is a great content that you can create. A lot of times, again, we think about doing videos and putting them on our YouTube channel or putting them on Instagram or TikTok or these other platforms, but we never think about putting those videos on our website, which is what Google is indexing. And also service plus location pages, meaning like, you know, a great type of content is to talk about your services related to specific geographic areas like cities that you actually provide those services in, right? So think about your website. You probably, let's say you're a carpet cleaner, you probably have a carpet cleaning page on your website, but do you have a carpet cleaning page for people that are searching in Mesa, Arizona, or Gilbert, Arizona, or Chandler, Arizona, right? Why not have content specific to those cities, right, with your service of carpet cleaning?
Mhm.
So those are great pages that you can add to your website to give Google more content and also help Google understand where you want your website to rank for, right? And
Yep.
another great one, probably one of our favorite ones, is articles. So when I say articles, you might be thinking of like a blog. That's totally fine. A blog or an article is another great way to create content that Google is going to index and then can help you rank in the search engines. Now, how do I get Google to index my content? So even if I go out there and I create this new content, how do I get Google to actually like index it? And we're going to talk about that. Number one, you got to create more content, because I want you to think about this really quick. Let's just take a scenario here. Let's say you built your website 2 years ago and you have not updated any content on that website in 2 years. So Google comes to your website, they look at all the pages, the content that's there, and they go, okay, I've got this indexed. They go away. 30 days later, they come back and they go, all right, what have you got for me? Oh, it's all the exact same content. Okay, so nothing new. They leave, they come back 30 days later. Oh, exact same content, right? How often is Google going to spend time coming back to your website if nothing ever changes, if the content is always the same,
Yep.
right? It just, like, again, you're talking about a machine. The machine's going to learn, I don't need to go to this website because there's not really anything new for me to look at.
Yeah,
So,
our people who have had their website for 10 years and not changed their content right now should be kind of freaking out.
yes,
Rightfully so, or at least having your mind opened up. Don't freak out, just be better, right? Is what we always say.
exactly.
Don't freak out, be better. What you start today affects you 8 months from now.
Exactly. So first, we got to start creating more content. Second, we need to create content consistently so that we can train Google to come back more often to our website. So that means, what we're saying by that is, we're not going to just go put a bunch of content on the website now and then wait for another 10 years before we add anything there, because Google is going to come back. It's going to go, oh, great, new content. And then, okay, I better come back to this website again. Oh, wait, nothing's new again, right? So we're training it. Think about like training a dog, right? You know, we're training Google to, hey, come back to my website frequently because I'm going to give you a treat every single time you come back to the website. And think about your dog when you're training your dog, right? Once you start incorporating treats, man, they want to do that trick again and again and again and again because they know they get a treat every single time they do it.
Yeah,
Same
I would
thing with
say
Google.
train it like your dog, but treat it like your kid, because your dog is going to get the trick. He's going to understand it. He's going to get it. But we want to treat Google like our kids that we tell over and over and over again for the rest of our lives, and they're never going to listen, right?
Yes.
So we know it's more like the dog. Google's like our dogs. They will learn the trick, but we're going to treat them like our kids, where we're going to tell them this for the rest of our lives. We're going to create content for the rest of our lives.
Yep, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. So the third thing is, now that you're creating content and you're creating content consistently, you want to share that content on your social media sites as well. So, and the reason why we want to do that is because we want to create entry points, if you will, places that Google is going to find that content, and then that content's going to lead back to our website. Because again, if we haven't done anything on our website for 10 years, Google's probably not coming back and visiting us very often, but they do visit the social media sites quite a bit. So we share that content on our social media sites with a link coming back to our website. And now Google's following back, coming to the website, finding new content, and we're basically training them. So you can imagine, again, if we take that same, analogy of the dog, the social media sites would be kind of like the leash, right? We're going to use the leash to, pull Google to where we want it to go, right? They're going to guide Google back to the website by using places we know it's going to be indexing to get them back onto our website. So that's really important, is sharing the content out on the social media sites to get them back to your site. And then fourth, you got to make it easy for Google to understand what the content should rank for, right? Like in a millisecond, you should be able, someone should be able to, a person should be able to look at the page and go, yep, I know that what you're trying to rank for is house cleaning services in Sacramento, California, by looking at that page. It's very simple. I understand immediately what you want. And that way Google will be able to understand it as well. Because again, it's not a human, it's a machine.
Yeah.
So
and I would say most people's interpretation of this, or their attempt, I would say their attempt at this, is blogs. And as we know, blogs just really don't work. And the reason for that is that it's a great concept. They like almost got there. You know, it's like, you know, Tesla with the EVs, you know, they crushed the industry, but there was a lot of other, you know, car manufacturers who tried, but they almost got there, but their EVs just suck. You know, that's like kind of like a blog. So the problem with blogs are, when you look at most people's blogs, they are talking about the dumbest of things. Like the people who are writing the blogs and have sold you on a blog, they're like writing things that they think are going to, you know, rank, but not even for like your services. That's what's crazy, is they'll have articles or blogs, they'll have blog posts about, you know, dogs and about all these things that really don't have anything to do with your, it's not like, oh, for a carpet cleaner, pet stain, you know, pet urine stains in carpet or something like that. Like they literally, we've had people come to us and we look at their blogs and we're like, you're a carpet cleaner and he's talking about how to feed your dog, you know, or how to get your dog's bad breath to go away. Like they're just writing content that they think is going to attract, like, or like get ranked out there. And it's really weird. Troy and I have just seen the weirdest of things. So it's not blogging. Okay. If you have somebody out there writing blogs for you, and they're not like keyword rich and location specific, right? Location targeting, then they're really not doing anything for you. So just another little piece of knowledge that if you are like, hey, well, hey, guess what? I do content, guys. I've got somebody that writes a blog for me. It's really awesome. Well, first off, go read those blogs and then make sure that it is even about your services. But then beyond that, they darn well better be titled right. And so, you know, I don't know if Troy's going to jump.
We're going to go into that. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So, but just understand that probably your blogger or your blog is not doing for you what you are hoping that it does.
Yep, exactly. And Trevor's absolutely right. So we're going to talk about how do I make it easy for Google to rank my content, because you have to be very specific. And Trevor's absolutely right in that a lot of times you get these people out there that are going, well, I just want to write about stuff that people are going to want to read about. Like, you know, like I'm going to write about, you know, these great tips on how to get, you know, how to clean your kitchen, but you're a carpet cleaner, right? So that doesn't make a lot of sense. If you're, you know, a maid service, a house cleaner, okay, that makes more sense, right? So when you're writing for Google, though, for ranking in Google, you need to be very specific. And so I'm going to give you some strategies on how to do that. First, you need to make sure, we're going to take writing articles, right? So you need to focus on one keyword phrase per article. Right? So a keyword phrase would be like affordable carpet cleaner. Like if I want, when someone types in affordable carpet cleaner in Mesa, Arizona, I want to be on the first page of Google, I should have an article titled affordable carpet cleaner Mesa AZ, because that's very simple for Google to go, oh, someone just did this search. Okay, here's a carpet cleaner in that area. They have a page on their website titled the exact same thing. I should serve that page up to these people, right? So you're making it very simple for Google to understand. So focus on one keyword phrase per article. You don't want to try to get 10 keyword phrases in a single article. You also want to focus on one city or one location per article, right? So meaning that I'm not going to write an article called, you know, the best house cleaner in Mesa, Arizona, Gilbert, Arizona, Chandler, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, right? Because that's going to confuse Google of what should I rank this page for? Am I
Mhm.
supposed to be doing it for which one of these cities? So it's always one keyword phrase, one location per article. That also gives you the ability to write a lot more articles, right?
Right.
Instead of stuffing all of the keywords and cities into one article, now you can write 5 different articles about that keyword because you have 5 different cities that you service. So you also want to make sure that you put the keyword and location in the title of the article. Make sure it's in there because, again, that's one of the first things Google's going to look at is the title of the article. So make sure you have that in the title. And then you want to make sure that you use your keyword and location naturally in the content of the article. And you should do it at least 3 to 5 times, depending on the length of the content. So if it's a very short article, you don't want to do it 5 times because that's going to look like you're stuffing that article with those keywords and locations. But you maybe do it 3 times, and you want to make sure it's natural, right? So it's part of the content. So a way to do that would be like, for example, let's say I am a pressure washing company in Atlanta, Georgia. I might have in the last paragraph of my article, hey, if you need, pressure washing, or if you have any pressure washing needs in Atlanta, Georgia, make sure you give us a call at this phone number. So I got my pressure washing keywords in there and my city and state in a natural sentence, right? So that's a great way to do that. But you want to look for natural ways to fit those keywords in there. And then the last thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you are linking internally to other pages on your website that are relevant to the article. Now, why is this important? Because again, Google is a machine. So it is scanning through the content on the page. And when it gets to a link, it has a decision. Do I continue on this page or do I follow the link and go see what's over there? So that's why you, again, very seldom do you want to link outside of your website to somebody else's website because you're basically giving Google a door to leave your website and go away. But if you do a link into your website to another page on your website that's relevant, Google will most likely follow that door and go deeper into your website. And the deeper they go into your website, the better chance you're going to have of your website ranking on that first page of Google. So link internally to your other pages on your website and make them relevant pages as well so that everything makes sense to Google. All right. So one last thing, how often should I post content? And this is a big one. So you should be adding content to your website at a minimum every single month, right? On a monthly basis. But we would suggest adding new content each week to your website. So, by having a, new content added to the website every single week, it's going to bring Google back to your website more often, which means you're going to have a better chance of ranking on that first page of Google. In fact, our most successful clients are actually adding new content about 4 to 5 times a week, right? So they're adding, new articles 4 or 5 times every single week to their website. And guess what? They're ranking. They're ranking for the keywords that they want. They're getting that organic traffic. They're getting those free clicks, if you will, from Google. And it really does make a huge difference in their business. So content, like Trevor said, content marketing is king. It is one of the best ways to rank with Google. It does take some time to do it, but it is worth it in the long run for growing your business. Anything else you want to add, Trevor?
I was just going to ask one question for our viewers. So what would be like the recommended length of an article?
Oh, great question. So at a minimum, you probably want your articles to be at least 500 words. That's enough content for Google to consider the content valuable. Some people will go up to like 2,500 words. I tend to go on the little bit shorter side because I figure instead of writing 2,500 words, I could write, maybe 4 articles that are 750 words a piece. And now I have 4 new pages to my website instead of
Yes.
1 new page to the website.
Exactly. I completely agree. Perfect. That's awesome. All right, guys, that's it. Let's jump into the homework for this week. We're going to have you take a look at your website and come up with a way that you can add new content to your website this week, at least maybe 3 to 4 pieces of new content, 3 to 4. And so for me, for like what we say is pages, we want to add 3 to 4 new pages this week to your website. That might sound daunting, but to be honest with you, we have hundreds, if not over 1,000 or maybe thousands of clients that are adding tons of pages to their website every single month. They're adding like 40 new articles to their website every single month. And so it's very doable. And these are not like people who, are content writers, and again, you can get somebody to even write the content for you. So you just need to have an easy way to be able to add that to your website. And I'll tell you what, if this seems like just so daunting to you, this seems like way out of your realm or anything like that, hit us up. We have a super simple solution that can be a do-it-yourself. But I would say that honestly, probably 99% of our clients just have our writers take care of that for them. So, hey guys, we love you. We appreciate you. We love spending time with you guys every single week. We hope that you guys are enjoying this. I think we know that you do, because you're obviously telling family, friends, and you're sharing it and putting it out on your social media sites, because all of our channels are growing like a weed. Our views are going way up. I want to say we are like over 500,000 views or something on YouTube now, which is super exciting. I can't wait to get to 1 million views. That'll be awesome. Remember, we just launched the YouTube channel. I think it was last year or something like that. And our downloads and listens every single week are growing like crazy. So we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking your time with us and for sharing it. We really do appreciate it. We will catch you guys on the next episode of So Tell Us Time.